Reactions to the Denver Post report about State Representative Jovan Melton and 2 charges of domestic violence in his past has divided some of the Democratic Party. Some party leaders are asking Melton to resign. Meanwhile, Reverend Asen Phillips said calls for his resignation were a political lynching, and former Mayor Wellington Webb said it was a Jim Crow double standard. Melton categorically denied any wrongdoing in the past accounts. Joey, there was a Colorado Politics report involved here, and for the first time, at least I know in my recent memory, and that could be spotty, where you saw such a direct division within major leaders of the Democratic Party. This wasn't a community activist being angry at somebody in the city. This was the former Mayor Wellington Webb repeating on camera that this was a Jim Crow double standard. That was not light language aimed at direct party leaders. What did you take away from it?
Wow, not a lot of fun to be a Democrat right now. You know, they've been having a party for months, and now the hangover is starting. You know, the Democrats, you know, their base has been splitting for months now. Back when Syra Rao ran against Diana DeGette, now we're seeing the same kind of race politics dividing the party. And the thing is here, everybody's right and everybody's wrong. There are no easy solutions here. You know, we're at a moment in time, the Me Too movement, there are a lot of people that would like to see that factor into this election. It doesn't bode well for Jovan Melton. You know, he was a rising star in that party. He's not going to be a rising star any longer if he manages to hang on to his seat.
Scott, you walk around a lot of political circles, not just Democrats, but you see leaders from all over. But when you see something like this, here's the gubernatorial candidate, Jared Polis, being asked about the situation, saying, yeah, he should probably think about resigning. Then you see former Mayor Wellington Webb and Asen Phillips, 2 heavy hitters in Colorado, going that far in describing the situation. What was your reaction?
This thing is a mess. But, I mean, I guess what I would say is I think it's a contrast. You know, when you look at the issues that Democrats are trying to confront and what I don't see being confronted among Republicans, none of this is pretty. But what I see is Democrats wrestling with some very complicated and complex social dynamics. This is at the intersection of political honesty, sexual assault in the Me Too movement, race, and you're seeing all of that play out. And so, like I said, none of this is pleasant to watch, and everybody's right and everybody's wrong. But at least what I see is Democrats really trying to contend with these very, very powerful forces that are going on in our society. And I just think it contrasts completely with the other side of the aisle that just will not have any of this conversation at all. And so I think it's unpleasant to watch, but this is clearly something that needs to happen at this point.
Patty, what kind of level of, where's the DEFCON level for the Colorado Democratic Party when they're opening up the paper or websites today and seeing comments from their gubernatorial candidate and somebody like Mayor Webb completely at odds with each other?
Well, it's the division we've seen across the country, although usually it's between parties, but now it's within a party. But look at, we just put someone on the Supreme Court for life who was accused of doing very, very bad things when he was about the same age as when Jovan Melton got that first domestic violence charge. So, and if you really study through those charges, it does look like the second one in particular has some real issues. And the woman who was involved even said she thought the cop was it smacked of racism, how the cop responded. So what's interesting is that this hadn't come out earlier when basically you looked at someone the wrong way in the last legislative session and you were hearing about it. So interesting that it didn't come out until now. Good that it did come out now, because let's let the voters decide. Jovan Melton can talk about what he wants. Everyone can support him or go against him, but this is really a decision for the voters. Everybody's got something in their background. We've got Walker Stapleton's DUI that people have to decide, is that a problem or not? These are fairly old charges. They're a little hinky, but why we didn't hear about them earlier, if I were Jovan Melton, I would have admitted them earlier, just because now it's come back less than a month before the election.
Krista, I like to think that I keep up with political issues and headlines. I certainly miss more than my fair share, but I try to stay in tune. This one seemed to come out of nowhere. I mean, there was a headline on Wednesday, and Thursday this haymaker came from the other side. In a non-election year where there's not so many other headlines going on everywhere else, this would have been topic 1 on this show. This would have been in the headlines for a long time. Right now, at least there's some competition for it, but it's still a big deal. What was your reaction?
I mean, it is a big deal. And unlike the Kavanaugh case, there actually is some proof in this situation. We're talking about a Me Too movement that I think has largely been a very good thing. I think it communicates something very forcefully, do not touch women without their consent, do not hurt women, do not abuse women, and there needs to be consequences. But when I listened to Bishop Phillips this morning, I thought, well, you know, there's a part of this conversation we haven't had yet, and that is the question of, is there redemption? Is there forgiveness? Is there a sense that something happened a long time ago and that person has made amends and become a better person? I don't feel like we've had that part of the conversation yet, and we're all human. We've all done dumb things. We've all probably done some bad things that we wish we hadn't done. So when we look at the situation with this representative, I think we need to be having some of that conversation as well.